Case is completely unaware that in just a few hours, he would make the biggest mistake of his life. Vincent, 58, was a Harvard business school graduate and third-generation luxury watch dealer who prided himself on reading customers by appearance. Yet the elderly man about to enter his store would challenge every assumption Vincent held, offering Beverly Hills' priciest lesson. Sometimes the greatest fortunes are hidden beneath the simplest attire. Vincent began the day with his usual precision, dressed in a sharp Italian suit, polished English shoes, and a $50,000 Patek Philippe watch. He gave instructions to his assistant, Maria Rodriguez. Maria, we need to be selective with our clients. Watches at this level aren't for everyone. Maria, 26, a UCLA psychology graduate, found her boss's elitist approach uncomfortable, but relied on this job to repay her student loans. I understand, Mr. Carmichael, she replied. The display cases sparkled with extraordinary timepieces, a $2.8 million Patek Philippe, a $1.7 million Richard Mille, and the store's centerpiece, a $3.2 million Paul Newman Rolex Daytona. This rare Rolex was one of only 3 ever made and had belonged to Paul Newman himself. Vincent reserved it for only the most distinguished customers. At 2:30 p.m., the store door opened. Vincent's eyes fell on a man very different from the clientele he expected, roughly 75, wearing faded Levi's, a gray t-shirt and worn Converse sneakers. Thick-framed glasses framed curious eyes that took in the surroundings. Instantly, Vincent assumed he was just a curious tourist. In reality, the visitor was John Michael Osbourne, globally known as Ozzy Osbourne, carrying a $5 million budget for his wife Sharon's 74th birthday. Impressed by the store's lavish interior, crystal chandeliers, marble floors, and gold accents, he muttered in his Birmingham accent, "Bloody hell, this place looks pricier than Buckingham Palace." His gaze fell on the Paul Newman Daytona. Now that's a proper watch, he thought. Recalling photographs with Paul Newman from the 1960s, it would be the perfect nostalgic gift for Sharon. Vincent approached, visibly uneasy with the man's casual appearance. "Can I help you, sir?" he asked, professional but distant. Ozzy turned with a warm smile. "Yeah, mate. I was looking at that Rolex in the corner. Quite stunning." Vincent frowned slightly, his mind racing with judgment. The accent suggested a modest background, but the man's interest was unmistakable. "That's a very special piece," he said cautiously. "Perhaps you'd be interested in something a bit more accessible," Vincent suggested. Curiosity lit up Ozzy's eyes. "Accessible? What's special about this one?" Vincent smiled inwardly. Most customers usually left as soon as they heard the price. "This is a 1968 Paul Newman Rolex Daytona, sir, one of only 3 ever made. It's from Paul Newman's personal collection." He deliberately avoided mentioning the cost. "Paul Newman? Huh. Fantastic actor. Met him a few times back in the 70s. Lovely guy. So, what's the price?" Vincent was taken aback. Claiming to have met Paul Newman was unusual. $3.2 million, sir, plus tax. Of course, Ozzy didn't flinch. Reasonable for a piece like this. "Can I take a closer look?" Vincent was startled by the calm response, but, maintaining professional courtesy, he began to remove the watch from the display case. His assistant Maria observed closely. Normally, clients vanished after hearing such a price, but this elderly man seemed different. She noticed a slight tremor in his hands. Perhaps age-related, but that tremor could soon trigger a $3.2 million accident. When Ozzy held the watch, he felt its weight. "This is real craftsmanship," he said, turning it in his hands. "Heavy, solid, precise, beautifully made. Sharon would love this," he added. "It's our 42nd wedding anniversary next month." Vincent's interest was piqued. A 42-year marriage was remarkable. "Your wife enjoys fine timepieces?" he asked, his tone softening. Ozzy chuckled. "Oh, mate. Sharon appreciates everything: luxurious houses, cars, jewelry. She's got expensive taste. That woman? But she's worth every penny." Maria smiled quietly. The love in his voice was genuine. As Ozzy continued examining the watch, he began, "You know, I bought my first Rolex was back in 1972. It cost me £500 at the time. Now, just look at the prices." Vincent's curiosity grew. £500 was a significant sum back then. "What business are you in, sir?" he asked. Ozzy replied modestly, "Entertainment industry. Though mostly retired now. Sharon keeps me busy with her lists." As Ozzy examined the watch, a sudden hand spasm caused by Parkinson's disease made the watch slip from his fingers, and it crashed onto the marble floor. Shards of glass flew in all directions. Paul Newman's signed dial split in half, and the mechanism scattered across the floor. Vincent's scream filled the store. "What have you done?" His face flushed, veins standing out. "That was a $3.2 million watch. Do you realize what you've destroyed?" Ozzy remained calm. "I'm terribly sorry, mate. My hand slipped. Of course I'll cover the damages." Vincent's anger escalated. "Cover the damages? Look at yourself. You're in a $20 t-shirt and worn-out sneakers. This watch is worth more than you'll make in 10 lifetimes." Other customers, a senior Japanese collector and a young tech billionaire, watched in stunned silence. Maria, meanwhile, looked on in horror at her boss's reaction. Vincent was now completely unhinged. How did you even get in here? This is Beverly Hills, not a thrift store. People like you shouldn't even be allowed in places like this. A familiar glint appeared in Ozzy's eyes, the calm born of 50 years on stage. People like me, he asked, voice steady, but with a sharp edge. Vincent pressed further. Look at your clothes, your shoes. You probably don't even have $500 to your name. This is ridiculous. I'm calling security. At that moment, the Japanese customer, Hiroshi Tanaka, spoke up. Excuse me, but this behavior is extremely unprofessional. Vincent turned to him. Mr. Tanaka, I apologize. This person clearly doesn't belong here. Ozzy reached into his worn leather wallet. Vincent smirked triumphantly. See? Probably just food stamps in there. What Ozzy pulled out, however, left Vincent speechless. A jet black JP Morgan Chase, private bank card, a card, reserved for clients with a net worth over $25 million. Vincent froze. This can't be real, he stammered. Ozzy placed the card on the counter. Check it if you want, mate. No limit on this one. Maria stepped closer to inspect it. Mr. Michael, this is a genuine JP Morgan reserve card, and the name reads, John M. Osbourne. Vincent's hand trembled as he held the card, the metal's cold weight in his fingers. These cards were issued exclusively to ultra-high net worth individuals. Osbourne's voice wavered slightly. What industry did you say you were in? Ozzy grinned with a familiar, mischievous smirk. Entertainment? Mate. Music, specifically. Ever heard of Black Sabbath? At that moment, 22-year-old UCLA student Jake Wilson, who was in the corner delivering a package for a part-time delivery service, overheard the conversation. Wait a minute, he said, approaching eagerly. Black Sabbath. Are you telling me you're Ozzy Osbourne? Vincent looked confused. Who's Ozzy Osbourne? Jake could hardly believe it. Are you serious? He's the godfather of heavy metal, the Prince of Darkness. He practically invented an entire genre of music. Ozzy responded modestly. Well, that's a bit much, son. But guilty as charged. Suddenly the atmosphere in the store shifted completely. Jake pulled out his phone. Holy, I'm standing next to Ozzy Osbourne. Hiroshi Tanaka now understood as well. Ah, Ozan, my son, is a huge fan in Tokyo. Ozzy smiled at both of them. Nice to meet you both. Vincent felt his world collapse. A music legend was standing before him and he had called him poor. Maria, shocked, added, Mr. Osbourne, I can't believe I didn't recognize you. My dad played your music all the time when I was growing up. Ozzy replied calmly, Don't worry, love happens all the time. I look different without the stage makeup and leather pants. Vincent began to stammer. Mr. Osbourne, I had no idea who you were. This is a tremendous honor. Ozzy raised a hand. Easy there, mate. No need for the royal treatment, but maybe work on that customer service. Jake, still in disbelief, said, Dude, your net worth is like $220 million. You could buy this whole store. Ozzy laughed. Don't give me ideas, son. Sharon already thinks I spend too much. He glanced at the watch pieces on the floor. Now, Vincent, mate, about this mess. How much damage are we talking? Vincent was sweating. Mr. Osbourne, given who you are, perhaps we can. Ozzy cut him off. No special treatment, mate. I broke it. I'll pay for it. Fair and square, Vincent calculated. The watch was insured for $3.2 million, but considering its provenance and rarity, the total replacement cost was probably around $4 million. Ozzy didn't hesitate. Done. The payment was processed immediately. Maria couldn't believe it. $4 million, and you're not even hesitating. Ozzy replied, Love, at my age, money is just numbers. But breaking Paul Newman's watch, that's personal. He was a good man. Hiroshi nodded respectfully. Very honorable, Osborne-san. Jake added, astonished. This has to be the most expensive accident in Beverly Hills history. Vincent's hands trembled as he completed the card transaction. The $4 million payment went through without any questions. While making the payment, Ozzy shared the story. Paul Newman and I met at a charity event in 19... Nice bloke, very down to earth. He loved cars and watches. He would have laughed at this situation. Jake, amazed, asked, You actually knew Paul Newman? Ozzy smiled. Son, when you've been in this business as long as I have, you meet everyone. Frank, Sinatra, Elvis, the Beatles. Different era back then. Maria asked curiously, what was it like meeting Elvis? Ozzy's eyes welled up. Tragic. Actually, he was struggling with his demons. We all were back then, but his music, it's immortal. Vincent tried to compose himself. Mr. Osbourne, this experience has been educational, he admitted shamefully. Ozzy placed a hand on his shoulder. Good, learning never stops, mate. And Vincent, next time someone walks into your store, remember, you never know who they might be. Hiroshi respectfully added, In Japan, we say, never judge a book by its cover. Ozzy nodded. Wise words. Your culture understands respect. Jake gathered his courage and asked, Mr. Osbourne, can I ask you something? How do you stay so humble with all your success? Ozzy paused thoughtfully. Son, success is temporary. Character lasts. Money comes and goes. But how you treat people stays with you forever. Everyone in the store felt the weight of his words. Vincent looked down, ashamed. Mr. Osbourne, I owe you a sincere apology. Ozzy raised a hand. Apology accepted, mate. But promise me this street, everyone who walks through that door, with the same respect you'd show me. Vincent nodded firmly. Absolutely, sir. This will change how I run things. Ozzy gestured to the watch pieces scattered on the floor. Keep those pieces. Frame them. Put up a sign underneath. The day we learned not to judge by appearances. Maria's eyes lit up. That's a wonderful idea, Jake added. It could even become a landmark or something. Ozzy smiled. Just remember the lesson, not the money. He turned to Vincent with a serious tone. And Vincent, that young lady? Maria, she has more class than half your usual customers. Treat her well. Maria's eyes welled with tears. Thank you, Mr. Osbourne, she whispered. As Ozzy prepared to leave, he added one final thought. Vincent, I've been rich and I've been poor. Rich is better, but it doesn't make you a better person. How you treat people when they can do anything for you, that shows who you really are. Maria spoke up with courage. Mr. Osbourne, may I ask for a photo? Ozzy smiled warmly. Of course, love. But let's get Vincent in it too. This is his moment to learn. Vincent looked surprised. You want me in the photo? After how I treated you? Ozzy nodded firmly. Exactly. Everyone deserves a second chance. After the photo, Ozzy glanced at his watch. I better get home before Sharon wonders where I've been. She has a sixth sense for my shopping trips. He laughed. Hiroshi spoke respectfully. Please give my regards to Mrs. Osbourne, Ozzy replied. Will do, mate. She'll love this story. Jake, curious, asked. Are you going to tell her you accidentally spent $4 million? Ozzy thought for a moment. Son, you clearly don't know Sharon Osbourne. She'll find out before I even get home. Everyone laughed. As Ozzy walked toward the door, he turned back one last time. The store had changed completely. Vincent's arrogance was gone, replaced by genuine curiosity. Maria spoke confidently to customers. Jake was still in shock. Hiroshi was already on the phone telling the story in Tokyo. Remember, folks, Ozzy said, his familiar commanding tone returning. We're all just people trying to get through life. Some of us just wear fancier clothes while doing it. And as he left, he didn't just leave behind a broken watch, he left changed lives. From that day forward, Vincent created a new rule in his store. Treat everyone as if they could be Ozzy Osbourne. The broken watch pieces were framed and hung with a plaque reading, The day we learned appearances deceive. Maria was promoted and put in charge of customer service. That evening, when Ozzy got home, he told Sharon what had happened. She was first shocked, then laughed. Ozzy Osbourne, only you could accidentally break a $2 million watch and turn it into a life lesson, she said. Sharon didn't stop there. She sent Vincent a card. Thank you for treating my husband fairly in the end. Second chances matter. We all make mistakes, but not everyone learns from them. Sharon Osbourne. Within a week, the story became Beverly Hills' most talked about event. Other luxury store owners started following Vincent's example, and Ozzy, he still wore his old t-shirts. But now everyone recognized him and treated people the way they would treat him. Because appearances can be deceiving, but character never is. And sometimes, the biggest lessons come from the most expensive mistakes.